I'd hope there's a lot of trust being taped up, tied up, hair sticky. I'm sure you'd have to really trust who you're working with. Hey, it's your girl, Emily Curl with iHeartRadio, and today we're talking about the song and music video for Sticky. We have John and Pat from the Maine here with us, and the director of the music video, Angela Kohler. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having us.
We're so happy to have you guys. Now, this is iHeart's Frame by Frame, and we're going to break down the behind the scenes of the video, and we're also going to deconstruct some key moments. But before we do that, I want to ask a couple of general questions. First one being, what did this collaboration look like between the Maine and you, Angela?
I mean, these guys are so terrific and so creative, and I was throwing out stuff that they're never going to go for this. And everything I said, they're like, yes, and some more. And I was like, okay, like let's like get as sticky as possible here. And so it was really incredible and a big surprise.
Now, how did you all come up with the concept of the video in comparison to the inspiration for the song?
I knew straight off the rip that I wanted it to be a bit more literal, like Angela said. Like, I mean, we can't avoid the sticky element, but we didn't want it to be too nasty. Sticky is kind of a strange word as is, and we wanted to avoid the strange and nasty sides of that word and the visuals that coexist with it. We had the literal idea. We had like maybe 5 or so. I don't know if you remember, Angela, but we had like 5 initial kind of ideas. And then I think from there, we just had a couple conversations over the phone and kind of like Angela said, she would say something, we'd be like, oh yeah. And then what about this? And then we'd be like, yeah. And then some of this. So it was certainly a collaborative process.
The fun thing about it was like those initial ideas you guys had were so great, but then like as we were like moving towards production, they kind of morphed into like more unusual things. Like we were like sticky dots all over the face, and then we're like sticky eyeballs, and it just got a little more unusual as we got closer to production, which is really organic and fun when you know you can play with people. It got to a place that I felt was more creative than it was even initially.
I love that. Now we're going to jump in frame by frame. So let's go ahead and pull up that first frame. We want to start with the opening. So John, we have a close-up on you here, but Angela, break it down. What camera did you use for the entire shoot?
We had 2 cameras. One was a red Komodo that had most of these like really great lens stuff. And then we brought in a drone here and there. But this shot was really unplanned because we had taped him to the floor, but then we like looked in his eyes, and the windows in the space are these huge, really, really high up factory windows. And then we're like, okay, well, we need to just get closer there. Like his eyes are so insane with this big square in them. So the DP just kind of just like kept like getting in. And then we're like, okay, that's close enough. And that's how we had to start it.
The original idea was a different, like the intro was going to be a completely different shot, but the second that we saw this up on the screen, like I think we both looked at each other and were like, that is how the video has to start. So
it's funny now that you say that. I didn't realize this was a shot, John, that you were taped down, because we see it later in the video, but now I see the tape.
It's one of those things. We had an experience. We didn't shoot any music videos for our last record, so we'd had, I don't know, 2.5 years of not doing a music video, and prior to that, pretty much every one of our music videos, there's some level of me getting pain inflicted on me during a video, and this was, I will say, this was like the least amount of pain. So Angela, thank you.
Now let's jump ahead to our next frame, because what I loved about this is we kind of see the camera moving around different angles. And for Angela, for you to kick us off, did you always know in the edit it was going to be turned this way, and did that affect the way that you shot it on set?
One of the first things that like got me into these guys was I was like, I don't even care which direction the camera is. It's going to be like upside down, right side up, vertical, horizontal. And they're like, they didn't even like, I'm not even sure they like responded. They're just like, oh. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I all the stuff I was expecting to be shut down for, like wasn't even a blip. Whatever framing fit, like as if you were taking a still photograph, is how we framed it. And then it just like landed in the final piece with this kind of irreverent sort of suspension of gravity.
And now, John and Pat, you guys have been making music videos for so long. What is it like on set at this point? Like, you go in and you're just like, as much creative freedom as we want. Do you have a vision? What does it look like for you guys?
I think this time around, we trusted Angela a bunch, but then once we got on set, we were like, oh, she knows exactly what she's doing for what we need. So at that point, we tried to like let go of control as much as possible, because that's kind of a thing with like our band is we're so like we're hands-on in every single thing we do, so we can tend to like want to get in the weeds on everything. And you know, we were for the setup and the planning, but once we got there, we knew that she had everything under control. So the best thing we could do is to
get out of the way and just listen. I think like it's a testament to why we worked with Angela in the first place, was her reel that we had seen. So her previous work, you know, that's really all we had to go off of. And I think, like Pat said, that was what attracted to us to her direction in the first place. And then once we got there, she made it really easy to make known, like, I'm in control, I've got it. Just not like that, but you know what I mean.
Go,
like,
Angela, I love it.
It was a good, comforting, kind of less intimidating, more like, hey, I know what I'm doing. Like, it's all good.
Let's go on to our next frame. This cool tarp moment. Now, logistically, how did we get the tarp to move like this? John, are you okay in this thing? And is there crew around, you know, sort of adjusting it? What did this scene look like?
A lot of leaf blowers.
Leaf blowers?
Yeah, I was fine during this. And this, I don't know, Angela, this felt like sort of like improvisational, like in the moment kind of thing more than anything else.
It was one of those things where I had no idea what it was going to look like at all. And I couldn't test it beforehand. So it was like, we're going to put it up. If it doesn't work in the first 45 seconds, it's going to just go away. We're going to move on. But then it ended up doing some really cool stuff. So we just like kept adding leaf blowers and then just kept kept doing it until it ripped.
What did the production day look like? Was this a one-day shoot, multiple days?
One day.
One day? That always shocks me.
You guys were already like pretty much getting things up by the time we got there. But yeah, it's probably like 9 a.m. to like 7 p.m. or something for us.
Yeah, it was pretty nonstop. Like I got there right at the same time as everybody else, got into my clothes, and then we pretty much started shooting while the rest of the set was sort of being built. So it was like, once we got there, it was go time.
Well, in COVID, like we had to have a really small crew. So everything we did had to be really nimble. So, and we also knew that our last shot was the honey shot. So like, there was no like extending the day. We couldn't go on all night. These guys were so gooey and disgusting. Like there was a point where we had to end and we knew where it was.
I'm not joking. The honey shot actually did me in. I could not handle it.
I've heard that from a lot of people actually. Like it made them feel disgusting. So.
It honestly did, and especially to the hair. Actually, we're gonna skip ahead. Dylan, let's start the honey shot next, because you all had honey in your hair. You all did the honey shot, which is wild.
So grateful that everybody was willing to do it, because like it was a long day and this was like, it was gross.
Wait, Pat, did you do the honey? Did you do the honey too?
Yeah.
Did it come out of your hair?
Yeah.
Your long, gorgeous locks.
So apple cider vinegar is the trick, which I didn't know what the game plan was once we were done, but once I finished my shot, someone handed me a bottle of apple cider vinegar and said that this will work, and I was like, all right,
just go to town.
And to be honest, it was way easier to get out than I was expecting.
Yeah.
So.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. We're grateful that it was the last shot of the day.
Yeah.
Like we stacked everything so that this was it. And I think that's why everybody was down, because they were like, okay, it means it's over.
Yeah.
You know, so
like we'll wrap from here. Creatively, the idea behind this video of you guys in this is a really interesting shot to me, of you in this yellow box inside this large warehouse. You know, what was sort of the idea behind wanting to do something like this?
That was Angela's idea, I believe, because we had the idea of the curtains that were on there as the backdrop, and then she repurposed them to build out this box.
That curtain was such a genius idea, and like when they brought it to me, they were like, meat. Was it like a meat? It's a butcher. A welder's curtain.
Yeah.
And the idea of just like referencing different elements in other spaces, I felt like was really important to like bring it together. So it wasn't just like a blast of
giant
random stuff. So yeah, I just like, we built this pipe, I call it a phone booth. And like it actually turned out way better than I expected, like the way it like, yeah, the color reference, and it references their album cover in like a really beautiful way, I think.
Oh, nice.
Great.
Yeah, like a subtle tie-in. Cool. How did you guys find this? Was this a location scout, or is this a place that you had in mind for a while?
Do you know what's crazy about this place is once we decided we needed a big warehouse, 3 people recommended this spot to me. And then I called them, and I know them. Like they're friends from like 10 years ago. And I was like, hey, like we want to do this, like, and we're gonna make a big mess. And they're like, again, they're like, okay. And I was like, really? Like, I'm not gonna ask you twice. But like, we did some stuff and we made a total, like, they've been cleaning out feathers weeks for weeks.
Let's jump ahead. We have a few more to get through. Our next frame we have here, this one I was also physically in pain. Pat, how did you get to be the one to do this part?
I think maybe just the order in which I was prepared to shoot. I don't know if it was exactly mapped out who was going to do what, but this was what I had to do. And this shot is actually probably like the 3rd time that we had attempted it. The first couple times it didn't work, and they would cut them, and the rubber bands would just completely hit me in the face. Yeah, it was pretty painful.
Okay, let's jump ahead to our next one. There were so many good frames, it was honestly hard to choose. So we had to talk about this tape moment, John, which now I'm putting together as the opening scene. But like, where is this? Is this on the floor of the warehouse?
It is, yeah.
Oh,
that
okay.
Was pretty much where the yellow phone booth was. That's essentially where this scene took place.
How much tape was used here?
Many rolls.
Quite a bit.
Many rolls,
yeah.
So how long were you down here for, John?
Not terribly long.
Probably like 20 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. It was relatively quick.
And you were getting claustrophobic, you said, or you were feeling?
I was trying to not think about it. Like I was trying, like it wasn't until people started to press a little closer towards like where the tape was closer to my sides, where I was like, okay, I'm kind of feeling a little weird, but it was painless.
I love it. Okay, this one I thought was so cool, this Inception moment. How did you shoot this on set? Was this a green screen moment?
Nope.
What?
So it basically was parallel colored backgrounds.
Oh, so this is an actual reflection.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is wild. How many times did you guys have to do that to get it just right?
I mean, it just kind of took some like fiddling. The guys had to really follow very like small, confusing instructions, like down and tilt back. And, you know, it was like just like tiny little movements. But we did it pretty quick because it was either right or it wasn't.
Okay, I definitely thought this was green screen. That's wild. That's a cool tip. This scene we have to talk about because it has made me so pumped for live shows. And like just seeing you guys on stage, I've been a big fan of y'all forever and I've never got to see you live, but I can imagine the shows you put on are insane. How fun was it to like be back and get to emulate that? And how ready are you to perform live again?
Well, firstly, we weren't rocking out to our song because the song itself is relatively, it's dancey, but it doesn't like have that like, I'm gonna like crowd surf crazy, you know. So we put on a song by a hardcore band called The Bled from Arizona. We just kind of got goofy for a little bit. But
Pat, what are you laughing at?
No, just it's funny the levels of like you're making a music video and you're pretending to play your own song, and then we were pretending to play a different song, but then it's put over
the actual song. Yeah,
we are so pumped to get back out on the road, and it's gonna feel like that. I think the energy will be 10 times higher than it's ever been at any of our shows.
Okay, let's jump ahead to this next frame. These solo shots. What was so impressive to me is how everyone stayed on the exact same plane. How did you make it so everyone was so still and perfectly aligned?
I mean, I would just like get your head centered, and like they all had like got so dizzy after each one.
And y'all were just spinning. How fast were you going? Obviously this edit is fast, but were you going fast in real life?
We're going pretty fast, yeah, as fast as we could.
It It was, and like somebody was at the bottom, like pushing their
Yeah,
leg.
we had a spinner.
I love it. I love it. Okay, 2 more for you. The next one, this has to be one of my favorites. These tiny bearded men, or these tiny men on the beard. Tell me about these props.
We thought we'd have to glue them, and we didn't because he was just so woolly. We just like
You just stuck them in and they stayed?
Yeah, they just stayed. That one that fell out, like it just, I mean, we just happened to be rolling when it fell out, and my editor was like, "We have to get that little guy like plunging to his death off his chin."
Oh my God, I love it. We had to acknowledge this one. Okay, our last frame for you all. We kind of touched on this already, but this feels like the final scene. Was this actually the final scene of the day besides the honey?
It was not.
Oh no, it wasn't even. It was like halfway through.
Yeah, no, it would have been one of the final using the actual stage and that sort of setup. But this was, like probably midday.
Did you guys have extra outfits and styling? Were you changing a lot? Or are you just, is it the
again,
leaf blowers? No.
The leaf blowers, the MVP.
I cannot with these leaf blowers.
We're literally like jump off stage and somebody's just like, so yeah, it came in clutch.
We were fighting feather dandruff for like the next 4 hours.
Oh my God, I imagine. And now I know you mentioned, Angela, there wasn't a ton of like post besides a fun edit, but what did the post-production process look like? How long was this shoot before you all saw the final video?
Really fast.
It was really
fast.
Yeah.
I would say like a week and a half.
Yeah.
I wanted to loop them in really early on it. Like I got my rough done, but I knew they would have like opinions on it, like, and things that they were feeling while we were doing it. And they definitely went back to the raw footage. So like we felt this moment, like where was the capture of this thing that we felt? And then we'd go back in and find it and bring those things in. So it's very different from the first edit. I don't mind admitting, because the guy is really hands-on and felt strongly about certain things.
And also, actually, the Maine, before we let you go, we have to talk about your new album. What can fans expect from this new music?
I guess for old fans of our band, hopefully it's a bit nostalgic in that they can find pieces of our band that they fell in love with back when we started. But I'd like to think that there's depth and new sort of territory that we've explored. This being our 8th album, it's kind of hard to find that territory and break ground on it. But I hope we did that. And I'm really excited for people to hear it.
It's been so fun with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us. This is awesome.
Thanks so much for watching our frame by frame for the Maine's music video, Sticky. Make sure you stream all of the Maine's music on iHeartRadio, and we'll see you next time. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Did you like that video? You can check out more over here. And don't forget to subscribe to iHeart right here. And if you're already a longtime fan, make sure you ring the bell down below so you don't miss a single video. Bye guys.